the end. And there's two ways to post a question. We have the chat feature at the bottom right of your window. And we also have a Q&A section in the lower right corner, sitting behind the ellipsis, the three dots in the lower right corner. Amy's monitoring both of those for questions, and we'd like to save those for the end. So we'll pull those up and go through those one by one at the end. A couple other housekeeping notes. So we are recording this, and we'll be able to make this available upon request. In case anybody from your organization wasn't able to attend and they'd like to see the presentation firsthand. And I think that's it from a housekeeping perspective. So let me start with some introductions. So my name is Paul Bachran. I am the president here at Aktion Associates. And I've brought with me today Bob Black, who's our vice president of our multi-industry division. And inside that division houses our Acumatica solutions team, support operations team, our sales team, and our software engineering team. And then the other individual we brought along with us today, Mike Kaufman. He is the vice president for our managed infrastructure and cloud services division, and we like to shorten that to MIX. And he's on the call today to share with you a few things around the technology, the services, the cloud offerings that Aktion has today. So we're a little bit different than most VARs that you find in this industry. So those VARs, the companies that are considered value-added resellers that offer implementation support, consulting engagements, software engineering services, network engineering services, the value add around the software product, that's what we do. You know, Mike will share a little bit more with you about how we're different in that area and some additional services that we offer that we tie directly into the platforms and the products that we support. So Amy Collins is our moderator today. So she's with our marketing staff, and she'll be collecting the questions and make them available to us to answer at the end of the call. So with that, let me get rolling in our introductions here of Aktion. And as you see on your screen here, you've got a message from our CEO, Scott Irwin. And we want to express our gratitude for our customers in joining Aktion and coming over from the Alliance company. And we welcome y'all to Aktion. I think you'll find that you've joined a collection of another 100 customers. So all told, about 200 Acumatica customers that Aktion takes care of today. And you'll find a deep bench of application consulting, software engineering, network engineering, and our sales team to support the needs and the growth aspects of your businesses. So we're available. We want to make ourselves available to you, and we want to truly be that partner that you're looking for to help facilitate your growth and sustain profitability in your organizations. So let me turn things over to Bob Black. He's gonna walk you through a kind of a high-level overview of Aktion, give you a little bit of info about who we are, what we do, how we're structured. He'll probably cover a couple of awards that we're really proud of. He'll share with you our executive leadership team, just to give you an idea of the breadth of Aktion Associates. He'll take you through our business model. He'll take you through kind of our growth strategy, what we focus on, and how we got to be where we are today. There's a history of acquisitions that we'll cover briefly. There's a couple other items in here. I think at the end of Bob's presentation here, you'll get a pretty good understanding of who Aktion is, how we're structured, how we go to market, and most importantly, how we can deliver the services and the support that you're looking for from Aktion. And then we'll turn that over to Mike, and Mike will take a deeper dive into some of the managed services and the cloud services that we typically wrap around all of our Acumatica customers today. So with that, I'll turn things over to Bob, and I'll be on the call in case there's any questions through the end.
Okay, great. Thank you, Paul. again, welcome to everybody. I know echo Paul's comments. Grateful that everyone's here, and looking forward to kind of spend a little time together. I've enjoyed some one-on-one time with many of the Alliance customers, and looking forward to kind of get through more as time goes on. So we're displaying here the announcement. I think we did get some feedback that not everyone received it. I think we've tried to remedy that, send out copies when we hear that. We will send out a copy of it. But this was the announcement that officially made it all real January 1. That's all part of that the Alliance customers came over and now are part of Action. Next slide, please, Amy. Amy, next slide, please. Great. Yeah. So where are we in the Acumatica space? We're one of the larger partners in Acumatica, and that means that we've been doing it for a while. We just completed our 8th full year as an Acumatica partner. So that means long before construction was available, we started off in the distribution and manufacturing space. So we're starting our 9th year as an Acumatica partner, and I think as we'll talk through, we've got a deep-seated experience level with construction and with distribution and manufacturing as well. So very talented team, and we represent all 3 editions, and we've got a significant customer base in all 3 of those editions. Now back to some Action numbers: 65 million in annual revenue, 225 total employees. So that's a pretty significant number for a value-added reseller like us. Now back to the MI division, we've got 20 certified consultants in all the Acumatica products. And as I think you all know, this is a pretty complex product, and we do have a lot of deep experience and a lot of cross training that we do among our team. So we commonly will have a number of people that are assisting with different areas of Acumatica when needed: bank feeds versus inventory versus job costing and whatnot. As I think many of you have been interacting with us through the support line, that's going through our Network Operations Center. That is something that Mr. Kaufman's going to talk about a little bit later for us. And again, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us. Next slide, please. Yeah, a few of our awards that are hard-earned awards. 220 employees and 6,500 customers. That's Action as a whole. National ERP software reseller and IT infrastructure focused on the architectural, engineering, construction, real estate, distribution, and manufacturing industry. So it's a very broad. We've got a slide coming up that kind of shows our different divisions, which you'll be able to kind of maybe categorize them with some of the anchor products that we sell and work with. Along with that, and Mike will talk more about this, we've got 2 company-owned data centers that are within our structure, our infrastructure. Number 16 on the 2002 top 100 VAR list by Bob Scott. And going up, we're anxious to see what the 23 report's going to show us that. But and we also are a top workplace award in the Toledo area, where our home office is located. Next slide, please, Amy. Yeah, so here's our different divisions. As you'll see, there's 5 of them. We're the one right in the middle, the Acumatica division, the multi-industry division. But then we've got construction, which is kind of more along, as you'll see, the Sage anchor product. We've got the distribution, which is the Infor anchor product. We've got the managed infrastructure cloud services, which is Mike's division, which he'll be talking more about. And we also have a division focused on architects and engineers and professional services under Deltek. You've come into the multi-industry division, so that's the division where our customers were brought in, and then we interact a fair amount with the mix group, which is Mike Kaufman's group, through the hotline and through the managed infrastructure. Next slide, please. So growth strategy, I think it's important to kind of, look at where we've been and where we are today. We do have an aggressive few different elements to our growth strategy. One is obviously an organic growth, which we are meeting and exceeding these targets year after year. And we do that by lots of communications back and forth for sales executives, execution, focus on NCA growth, which is our division is probably the leading NCA division inside the Action team right now. And then we also do a lot of account management based on our install base. And many of you will wind up meeting your new partner, your primary consultant, your PCAM. It's your primary consulting contact, which will be your main go-to person as you need things going forward. There's an element to our growth, which has been acquiring other VARs, very similar to what you just went through. Expanding our customer base, expanding our scale within our division. That's all great success, and that's a continuing, ongoing strategy for Action. And then strive to be the go-to partner. I think working with our vendors and growing our customer base, obviously puts us in a very strong position with all of our vendors that we work with to be the best partner that we can be. And I think that's proven over time. You saw the numbers earlier for our customer base, and those are all hard-won customers that we continue to support and scale with every day. Next slide, please. So the Action team, I think this kind of maybe hammers home some of the earlier slides. It starts with a sales rep, to look after your needs, to do periodic business reviews with you, to find out what you're planning for now and for the future. We want to be part of that discussion, which then leads to application consulting. And again, we've got a broad, deep team of application consultants and software engineers. We've got our own software engineering team that's right within the MI division. And then there's which Mike's going to talk about, the other half, technology sales rep. So if you need infrastructure issues, if you want to talk about managed services, these are all things that Mike will be the go-to for. And then the network and data center engineers. So they're the ones that kind of manage our infrastructure, both for managed services and internally. So they manage all of our internal stuff as well. Next slide, please. So our value proposition, I guess, we want to continue to kind of say the same things we've already kind of talked about. We want you to be happy customers. We want to deliver IT solutions, and we're a full service IT company. We can offer, our upcoming agreements that we're going to be kind of presenting to people coming up are going to be our PaaS agreement, which is platform and application support. This is something that we have an interest. Our support operation is defined around both software and the infrastructure challenges that you may be calling us for. So, we are that full service IT with many different services options for you. We know construction, distribution, and manufacturing. So we, again, have that deep, broad experience within Acumatica for over 8 years now that, we're ready to take on your challenges and work with you to collaborate on, what the right solutions and best practices might be. We have a proprietary lean implementation process. I think many of you have already been through implementation. Anyone who's now still in implementation, we're going to pick up right where we left off, which is a step-by-step process, proven process that we use to get everyone live with proper checkpoints and check, points for us to actually collaborate on, making sure that we are together, making sure you're ready. We've been through enough challenges where things weren't ready, and we know that we know when to stop and when to go. So nationally recognized in our cloud managed services, and again, we're a complete technology partner. So with that, I think we're going to turn it over to Mike Kaufman, and he's going to take us through his issues and challenges and slides. And again, please feel free to ask any questions as you have them. You may have some for me already, and there may be some for Mike going forward. So please log those, and we'll address those at the end of the presentation.
Hey, thanks for the introduction. I appreciate that. Welcome everyone. We are so excited to have you as part of the Action family. My name is Mike Kaufman. I'm the VP of the Managed Infrastructure and Cloud Services Division. We talked about that that growth through acquisition. I'm the product or the result of an acquisition. Been working for some of the same customers for 22 years, and happy to be a part of this organization as well. I want to talk a little bit about what the Mix division offers. We've got several different things that we can assist customers with and do help a lot of our Acumatica customers with. I think one of our key offerings is our managed services programs, and I'm going to get into exactly what those are. But included in that are things like monitoring of your PCs and endpoints, potential on-prem servers that you might still have, patching to minimize attack surface or vulnerability, backup and disaster recovery plans for any line of business products that you might still have on premise, security overall for the enterprise, for different data stores and even different cloud applications using multi-factor authentication and those types of services. We also offer private cloud hosting services. So we've got a couple of data centers. Bob touched on those in his presentation. I'll talk a little bit more in detail about those as well. We do IT projects and assessments. We can help you find out what you have, where you might have weaknesses or risk, and then we can help you mitigate that risk and improve your overall IT situation. We do strategic technical consulting. We've got a host of engineers that can help with network engineering projects. And of course, we have that network operations center, a help desk, and the hotline support. And I'll touch, in depth on each of these topics as we kind of move through the presentation. Amy, would you advance to the next slide? Thank you. What we're finding is that businesses rely more on technology and their key software applications every day. It's a natural evolution that as technology gets better, as businesses, whether you're in the technology business, whether you're in the distribution business or the construction business, the ease of moving workflows into technology, which can often do it more consistently or more efficiently, is something that we simply grow into. But as there's some risk associated with that, as we move more of these critical processes into these technology locations, technology platforms, maybe the cloud, maybe we're just adding software, we run a greater risk of having downtime associated with a failure of the technology itself. It's hard for a pen and a legal pad to break in a way that you can't use them, but we find sometimes that there are challenges associated with technology. So one of the key things that my division is focused on is helping all of our customers avoid downtime. Safeguarding functionalities is a key piece of what we do. System disasters can hurt reputation. They can prevent you from, pick, pack, and ship, or they can prevent you from completing very specific projects. And of course, security is becoming a greater concern to everyone. Every week, it seems like we hear about another breach or another compromise that's cost a company, the ability to operate as they did before. So we mitigate that by implementing strategies to minimize downtime. And I'll talk about what a few of those are. Amy, if you would go to the next slide, please. All right. So some of the challenges we see out there in the the cyber landscape, we're hearing about ransomware, we're hearing about malware, folks who haven't put adequate security protections in place. Maybe they haven't trained staff members to recognize a phishing email. It's very unlikely that that you truly have a lost uncle in Nigeria attempting to smuggle the family fortune back into the country. Those types of things. System performance issues, not adequately resourcing any of the pieces of technology that are there to serve the needs of the business. Not planning or not keeping an eye on things before they break, but addressing needs after an issue's been reported is a good way to experience an extended downtime. Not patching, not keeping software current, not testing backup and disaster recovery. things that are growing long in the tooth that have a higher probability of failure simply because of their age. And then, of course, the things you can't predict or protect against: a fire, flood, movie monsters, whatever the case might be. So how can we take this set of challenges and sort of prepare or work to avoid them, to minimize disruption and to minimize downtime? Well, that's where we come in. We can, and if you move to the next slide, Amy, we can help implement some strategies to safeguard that functionality, to protect operations. No one thing will do it. There's no magic bullet that will, safeguard everything and ensure nothing ever breaks. In fact, I don't know that there's a combination of things that will ensure that nothing ever breaks. But what we can do is we can greatly reduce the probability that we'll have any kind of extended downtime, and we can prepare for known things and ensure that our path to resolution and our path to operability is as short and as sweet as possible. So layering your security, layering your protections, making sure that your network is configured not to allow unwanted intruders, making sure that your backup and disaster recovery solution is 100% airtight, and that there's a firm understanding from leadership, management, from every part of your business as to what happens in which type of disaster. I'm in Austin, Texas now, but I spent 20 years in New Orleans, Louisiana. I know a lot about natural disasters and some of the planning that goes along with preparing for a potential regional issue or potential downtime. Making sure that all of those things are straight across the board is a key piece of keeping operations, uninterrupted. Making sure that only the people that you want in the network and having access to your data have that access. Protecting your email from phishing attempts, people trying to steal credentials or impersonate you or one of your customers or vendors. Making sure that you've got the appropriate protections on every endpoint in your network. Making sure that you're training those staff members to recognize, to be suspicious, to recognize suspicious emails, and to not provide any type of critical information or sensitive information to folks who are trying to steal it from you. Making sure that you've got actual network firewalls in place that are of a current generation. And then, being very aggressive with patching, making sure that you have a good idea of which machines didn't get the latest patch that might be vulnerable to the latest hack. And of course, a last ditch, even after your backup and disaster recovery solution has formed that sort of that final line to protect you from a potential loss of data, cyber insurance is a key piece of a good, in IT business strategy. So all of those types of things are things that we can help guide you towards. In my division, we've got expertise in contacts and partners for implementing all of these strategies. Amy, if you wouldn't mind moving to the next slide. So one of the things that we can do as well is look at the infrastructure that's in place. A lot of times folks don't have a single tool that can help them get visibility to the entire fleet of PCs, laptops, endpoints, and those types of things in their environment. So we have tools that will help us assess and track the age, warranty status, operating system version, operating system install date, all the things that can fall out of focus or out of vision for an organization and open up some risk for them. As those machines get older, sometimes the operating systems, the versions of Windows are no longer supported by the manufacturer. That means hackers are finding faults, finding flaws, and finding ways to compromise those systems. Sometimes it's simply the case that the machine's out of warranty and a physical issue, a break, can cause a loss of productivity there as well. So we can help assess that risk, and we can help mitigate it by providing solutions for updating operating systems or updating equipment. Having a good plan of what that rotation looks like, making sure that you have a company policy associated with the age of equipment and you stick to it, putting budgets in place to make sure that you've got the correct rotation and that you've got a solid handle on the age and the viability of everything that's in your environment is a key piece of having a really good IT strategy. That's part of our strategic consulting and something we'd love to help you with. And then, of course, who's minding the store? Who is there as your network, through these policies becomes streamlined, becomes modernized? Who minds the store? Who takes over the care and feeding of that equipment, that network environment? Is that something that you handle internally and you need to work towards, building the skills or maintaining that skill level internally? Or is it something that you partner with someone like Aktion to do? And have us manage that for you, or even co-manage, partner with your internal IT team to make sure you've got all your bases covered. And if we go to the next slide, Amy. So a great way to tackle some of the needs of your IT infrastructure, or to leverage a managed services program. And managed services is really where you have a tool set that's managed either internally or with a partner like Aktion, that keeps an eye on every piece of equipment, every piece of your IT landscape, every piece of your network environment. And it does things like monitor utilization, monitor capacity on disk drives, monitor the status of the endpoint protection, anti-malware, antivirus, monitor the effectiveness of the various pieces of third-party software you might have to help patch Windows and Adobe Reader and those types of things. The good managed services program will usually include a help desk. It includes on-site assistance as well if you've got a physical break. That's becoming less and less necessary. We find in this day and age that the vast majority of services are performed remotely, but sometimes you need someone to come on site and install that new piece of equipment. And of course, that remote IT support is really becoming one of the key pieces. Backup and disaster recovery, we hit on that a few times. Comprehensive patch management, managing security through a number of different ways, access control, MFA, having some great anti-spam, anti-phishing programs in place, training those employees, and then a lot of the pieces of critical strategy for protecting functionality that I've talked about a little bit earlier. All of those are key pieces of a good managed services program. So. Hey, we understand the key need for continuing productivity. If your staff can't work because of an outage, then your operation is losing money, and that is why we're so focused on maintaining a network in an optimized state to prevent downtime. Amy, can we go to the next slide? Thank you. So, in addition to our managed services programs, we have a cloud services program. Aktion Cloud Services is a private cloud offering within 2 data centers that have been built, are managed and staffed by Aktion personnel that are familiar with applications like Acumatica that we support, that we maintain, that we implement. And we find on the Acumatica side that some customers simply require greater access to their data. Maybe they want to run scripts against their database. Maybe they want to have a permanent sandbox. There's some flexibility associated with having an instance in the Aktion Cloud that can be greater than what's available in the SaaS cloud. Not every organization will need that, but it is a reason that folks choose to move to the Aktion Cloud. It's administrator level access to the machines themselves, to the databases. You can run scripts and queries and backups as you need. Perpetual sandbox options can facilitate testing and development. And you have the access directly to the team members that manage those data centers, so that at any level that you might need support, we have the ability to get that to you through our NOC engineers, through our level 2 application consultants, and even up to level 3 folks that do development for us. So we've got a lot of options to get you support that's even more tightly bound to hosting when the Aktion Cloud is a fit. We reduce risk there as well. We have a lot of measures in place. Some of those layered strategies for protection, we're applying those as well in our data center to ensure that the workloads and the environments that we host are well protected and well secured against unwanted access. Yeah, so hey, let's go ahead and move to the next slide. And so, hey, we got 2 data centers. One is right inside our headquarters location there in Maumee, Ohio, right outside of Toledo. And the other is in our Charlotte facility. Again, both of those are staffed, maintained, designed, architected, and, in general, supported by Aktion engineers. We're the folks that are there making sure that everything operates as expected. And it means that we have an absolute ability to support any type of issue that goes on there. It's nice because we've got those things set up to replicate to each other, to minimize any kind of downtime. Even if we had a huge regional event that caused one of the data centers to go offline for some period of time, because of the replication that we have set up between those, we have the ability to spin those workloads up in the second data center, whichever one is the alternate from the primary. So there's a lot of redundancies built into those, as you would expect them. They're enterprise class data centers, and utilizing the highest type speed and throughput SSD storage. We've got the Network Operations Center, who I'm going to focus in on here in just a little bit. They've got monitors set up to alert on those things 24/7. If there's anything wrong, anything that needs attention, we get alerted. We have a help desk. We use case management like anyone to track, share ownership of and visibility into open cases and ensure that those get resolved. We've got over 600 servers hosted in our cloud facilities, and we've had 99.99% uptime in the last 5 years. We are also SOC certified, SOC 1 Type 2. We undergo a biannual audit for those and ensure that we're keeping up with the latest standards for compliance and for data security. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So one of the things that we found very useful for our customers, sort of another area where we can offer some assistance, is that we've seen that as folks begin to operate from cloud technologies, maybe they're hosted in our data centers, or they're leveraging the vendor SaaS. A lot of folks are access Acumatica through the Acumatica's cloud in AWS, and they find that maybe things run a little slower than they used to when they were on-prem, or maybe they are at risk if the internet service that they have goes down. Maybe they haven't adopted multiple internet or aggregated internet services. Maybe they're at risk for other reasons. So we've developed an assessment that allows us to basically sit down, perform a technical assessment, using some of our scanning and discovery tools, and an interview to determine, how have things gotten to where they are today, and, do any of the business processes or do any of the things that about the way that the network is operated or maintained pose a risk to cloud operations. So we can have a discussion about that. We can look at, any things that are still running at the office, on-prem, in the data center, and talk about what's a good candidate for moving to the cloud. We can evaluate the switching infrastructure, the network backbone, the firewall, and security that's left behind. We can talk about how to get from point A to point B, and we can also talk about what is the best strategy for ongoing management, care, and feeding of that equipment. So the cloud operations assessment is a really useful tool if you have any concerns about the viability of your network, or if it doesn't perform as you expect it to. A lot of times having one of these assessments done can shed some light on where you might have some weakness or where you might have some risk, and we can help you, mitigate that as well. Next slide, please. Thank you. So once we perform the interview, once we perform the technical assessment, we'll sit down and provide you a full evaluation of what we found, what our recommendations are. We'll highlight areas where we think you might have real risk. We'll talk about some of the metrics that we use to get there, talk about how you might fix what we found, and tell you what's the most important thing to address. So it's a nice engagement. Pretty finite start to finish. There's a technical sort of scanning and discovery phase. There's a couple of conversations to have, and then a sit down to evaluate the results. So it's something that will allow companies who feel like they're not getting the most out of their access to the cloud to get the most out of that. Next slide, please. And finally, I want to talk about our Network Operations Center. So this is the heartbeat of our support operation. And it's one of the things we pride ourselves on. We staff a highly rated support operation with most of those engineers being staffed right there at the headquarters in Maumee, Ohio. They are designed to react quickly when the phone rings. We have the ability to escalate reported issues to level 2 or level 3. I talked about that being application consultants, folks that are really familiar with the inner workings of the application that you're running. And level 3, the folks that help design some of that functionality or enhancements to software. Level 1 at the NOC, they can generally diagnose and resolve basic issues, and sometimes those range from simple network issues or PC issues all the way up to sort of low-level questions regarding the application itself. Our inbound call queues are answered when we track this pretty closely. They're answered with an average ring time of less than 15 seconds. So, if you have an urgent issue and you need some support, you need to get some help immediately, hey, give us a call at the Action, at the NOC. The hotline guys will pick up that phone quickly and make sure that they'll work to answer your question or resolve your issue and hand off if they're not able to do that immediately. You can also open cases with us by sending an email to support@action.com. You can request, if you haven't already done so, a login to our support portal, and that will get you another way to both open and track cases with us. So we want to give you a lot of avenues to ensure that you're getting the support that you want. This team supports Acumatica customers nationwide. They have a lot of insights into common issues, within the application and the industry. And I'll tell you that they use Acumatica every day. So they have a working familiarity with the user interface, with a lot of the tools inside of the product, and can give some help because of that as well. Next slide, please. And hey, that brings us to the Q&A portion of today's presentation. Appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I'm here to answer questions about any of the mix offerings that I just discussed as well.
Thank you, Mike and Bob, for that. Before we move into the Q&A session, let me just add a couple of things to what I heard on the call today. So, first and foremost, one of the things I wanted to do is I want to put myself in your shoes and understand why would I attend an Action presentation like this. And really, when you pick up a new business partner, first thing that comes to my mind is who do I call, or how do I contact, or who am I going to reach out to if I have a problem? Who am I going to reach out to or contact if I've got an ongoing project or a new project, or I'm in the middle of my implementation and now I've got a new partner that's covering the responsibility of delivering the service work. Those types of things are first and foremost in my mind, and I think you can appreciate what Mike just shared with us about our Network Operations Center. I'd say if anything comes up and you're not getting the support you're looking for, you're not able to find your primary consultant, you've got a question on anything that Mike covered, you've got a question on how do I align somebody for a project, reach out to the support line, reach out to Action via our portal, reach out to Action via our hotline at action.com or support@action.com. Either of those emails will get you there, or pick up the phone and call our hotline, and you'll get routed to the appropriate person, and we'll quickly get answers or direct you where you need to land inside Action. So first and foremost, we want to make sure we're here for you. We're able to quickly address whether it's an issue, a problem, or a new opportunity to work with you and expand your use of Acumatica, or expand your use or knowledge in security or infrastructure or cloud services. You know, we want, first and foremost, we want you to be able to access us. And if you're not getting the access, or you're not getting the follow-up phone calls that you would expect, we want to make sure you've got an escalation point. So, the three of us on this call, certainly good escalation points. Jennifer Kinzel is responsible for application consultants and software engineers. She works every day with Colette to make sure that we have good coverage of both our hotline and our projects, and the resources are allocated accordingly. So, feel free to reach out via our hotline. Don't be afraid to escalate if something isn't working, to your expectation, and let's work together to make sure your projects are truly a success. One other point I'd like to make is, we know there's a number of ISVs out there, and an ISV is an independent software vendor. Those are the third-party vendors that have add-on products to meet a need that Acumatica might not fulfill today. So we've, with the breadth of Action and the fact that we've been in construction for 35 years, selling software, working with different ISVs, working with different partners in different capacities, we've learned a lot about the ecosystem that's out there. If you've got questions about some of the ISVs, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help you understand and navigate that marketplace. There are select ISVs that Action has vetted. We have customers that have vetted, and we're comfortable recommending, if you're in 1500, a 1600, a 1700 SIC code, if by chance you're in distribution or you're in manufacturing, we've got very specific solutions in those areas that are industry and really sub-vertical focused. And we'd be happy to help you work through some of the noise that you pick up in the marketplace. Who's really good, who offers a quality solution, and who's really meeting the needs in the marketplace. We can help you with that. So with that, let me turn things over. Who's going to moderate Q&A for us here? I think looking through, I can take it. Looking through some of these questions, I think we've answered some of these as we work through the presentations, but let me take a look here, starting at the top. So what if I want an assessment of my current security protections? Who do I contact? I think any of the who do I contact questions, if you start with support@action.com and send us a quick email and just let them know in the body of that email what you're looking for, those immediately get routed to the appropriate person. And I don't see this question in here, but if you did have a question, who's your salesperson? Maybe you're looking for some information on a certain module or a certain ISV, and you're just trying to prepare a budget for 2023 or 2024, and you're doing some planning and you want to evaluate a solution. Who's your sales rep? And if you're not sure who that is, route an email to support@action.com, and they'll turn around immediately who you should reach out to for that. The same is true for your consultant. I know Bob referred to the consultant as a PCAM, a primary what is it? Consulting account manager.
Yeah.
And so when who is that? Everybody has one assigned, but you may not know who that is. Again, a quick email, come into our portal and post a case, or email support@action.com, or just call us, and we'd be happy to get you that contact. Let's see, next question in the queue here.
So Paul, let me add something to your comment there. Remember that we brought over the consultants from Alliance, and we also brought over our customer success manager coordinator, which is Maureen Bradley. I think many of you in the customer base are familiar with Maureen. She's a go-to person that can answer some of these questions as they come up. Also, I can just, she's part of the Action team now, and for modules that you need to add, increasing, maybe some of your resources, saying, hey, I do want to look at a new module or something. Those are all things that Maureen can also help you with. She may need some assistance with demos and some questions about how, a true discovery of what might be the best solution. But she'll certainly be a great starting point for any questions like that come up.
Okay. Thank you, Bob. I think we've covered most of the other questions in the queue here. Does anybody else have another question? You can post it to the chat or post it to Q&A.
So while those questions are coming in, I guess maybe add a comment or two about the when the Action or the Alliance team the Alliance customers were brought into Action. I think that we had a fairly aggressive expectation that we set for ourselves to get new support agreements out to everyone. There's two agreements. One of them is basically what you're getting now with Alliance. That's one of the options. We've had another option for many years as our support offering. So both of those are going to be things that we're ready to talk to you about very soon. But, I guess we apologize for not getting them out sooner. I think that's been one of the common questions in the customer base and in discussions is, I thought I'd have these by now. I don't have them yet. Due to just overwhelming, number of things going on and the summit, is stuck in the middle of all this. We're taking the rest of February, and you'll be hearing from Gary Kierstein. He'll be reaching back around to you, and myself also. I'll be helping Gary to go through the customer base and look at and talk about the new support agreements. So that also means that we started off saying that the Alliance agreements will basically be in place through the end of February. Well, we're extending that an additional 30 days now. So at the end of March. So the Alliance agreements are going to be in effect until the end of March, or until we can get you a new support agreement from Action. There's probably going to be questions around that, and feel free to ask. Paul would be a person that could answer some of those questions as well. But again, we apologize, and we're working hard to get those out to everybody.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, the good news on those is we're not expecting a lot of change there. So it's just a matter of buttoning up the items that are included in the two different support agreements and being able to clearly differentiate those for you and make sure they're clear, and then communicate that internally to our teams as well that are delivering that support. So we're buttoning up a few things there, and we'll get those back out to you. You did mention support. You mentioned Summit, Bob, and I'd encourage everybody on the call to take a look at Summit for next year. I was fortunate enough to participate in Summit this year. Summit is Acumatica's annual user conference, and it is a great event to recharge you and really get clear direction on where Acumatica is going with both the product, the partner community and the ISV community. It's a great networking event, and I'd encourage all of our customers to get there if they can. Whether you send one person or some of our customers send 3, 4, 5 folks every year. It's a great event to not only meet the folks at Action that you work with on a daily basis, but you get to meet the executive team at Acumatica. You get to meet a lot of the ISVs or the other third-party products. You meet their teams. They're all there as well. You have the opportunity to participate in some customer advisory boards. So if there's some things that you'd like to see in the application, we'd encourage you to get involved with those boards or get involved with the Acumatica portal itself and sign into the Acumatica portal, and you can actually vote on different things that you think are more applicable to you than other enhancements that are coming up in the future. But just the more involved you are in the entire Acumatica community, the more impactful you can be, and the more influence you have over driving product direction and usability and platform and all the things that make Acumatica unique. So we have any other?
To add on to that, Paul, I'm sorry to interrupt. Next Thursday, Action does a monthly customer focused webinar. This is not trying to sell anything. It's basically just kind of give some things back to our customer base. For the February meeting that's coming up next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, we're going to have a guest panelist, Tim Rodman, and I are going to be going down a list of kind of the highlights from Summit. And I think would be kind of a review and kind of a back and forth, and another place to learn about what happened at Summit, and some opportunities to maybe ask some questions about it as well.
Terrific. Mike, any last words for us? Bob, any last words for us? I don't see any other questions coming into Q&A.
No, just
Muted, Mike.
Mike's muted. Hold on. Oh.
Just want to say thanks for the opportunity to speak with everyone. Happy to have you with us today.
And echo all the comments here. We're so appreciative of the patience that I think we've had a lot of people show us in this transition, and there's a lot of good discussions going on. I think a lot of engagement is going on with when sometimes new consultants are being introduced and assisting with challenges and priorities. So really excited about the opportunity to work with every single one of you, and looking forward to to being fully engaged.
Great. Thanks, everyone. We appreciate everybody's time today. I hope you found some value in our presentation. And again, if you need anything from us, feel free to reach out to support@aktion.com, visit our portal, or give us a call. Appreciate everyone's participation today, and have a great day.